Happy 2022, everyone! In this vid, I'm going to give you my top 5 anime recs from 2021, along with 3 recommendations for what to watch if you enjoyed those shows. Let's kick it off with 3 honorable mentions that just barely missed my top 5. Honorable mention, Shadow's House. On looks alone, this would be in my top 5. Beautiful show, I love the character designs, very colorful, and they nail that gothic atmosphere. Emilico is training to be the public face of her mistress Kate, who appears to be completely made out of soot. The town where they live is controlled by an aristocratic family, all of whom are also soot people who have human-looking attendants. And of course, no self-respecting gothic mansion would be found without secrets poking out of every joint and seam, so expect lots of twists and turns with this one. Honorable mention, Kageki Shoujo. Kageki Shoujo follows 2 girls as they enter Koka, an exclusive school for performers in a prestigious acting troupe where all the characters are performed by women. This fictional troupe is based on a real-life acting troupe called the Takarazuka Revue, which is over 100 years old. Kageki Shoujo excels at giving its characters an initial mask to wear and then lifting it up to reveal what's underneath. There were multiple characters I couldn't stand at first, including one of the main characters, until the show revealed their backstories and they became more complex and relatable. Honorable mention, Zombieland Saga Revenge. If you enjoyed the first season, you should love this one. If you haven't seen any of the show, it's probably my favorite zombie-themed idol show, easily edging out, all those others. But seriously, it's a comedy with heart, wit, and the hilarious Kotaro and Tai, so check it out. And now, on to my official top 5. Number 5, Vivy Fluorite Eyes Song. A lot of people will have this as their number 1, and it's a good pick. Vivy is an android built to be an idol, a singing performer whose job it is to make everyone happy with their singing. Somehow she ends up as an integral piece in a war between humans and androids with the help of a floating robotic cube from the future. This anime features many characters over a span of 100 years, and it can be difficult to follow at times. I'm planning a deep dive on this show in the next few weeks, so keep your eyes out for that. The show is beautifully designed, both in the characters and the locations, but what is even more impressive to me is how the action scenes nail the timing of the android's movements. Think about getting the timing right to express efficient, swift, robotic movement alongside the more haphazard flow of human motion. Vivy captures all of these qualities fantastically, and though I've just watched the series once, I've watched the ending scenes about a dozen times, from the point where Vivy starts singing to the last flash of the show's title on the screen. I had the song in my head for days afterwards. My first rec, if you liked Vivy, is Violet Evergarden. It doesn't have the musical component that Vivy does, but it is similarly gorgeous in its animation, and the protagonist is a young woman with robotic features who moves from being fairly asocial to discovering how to express her feelings by the end. Like Vivy, it also has some intense battle scenes where Violet snaps around the battlefield with superhuman precision. Where Violet Evergarden departs from Vivy is that it wants to destroy your emotions in just about every scene, and often it succeeds. My next rec is El Cazador de la Bruja, which is another visually impressive show with a female protagonist in Nadia, who's highly capable of violence. And her sidekick Ellis is another character who has difficulty learning how to relate to people socially and emotionally. This is one of the rare anime that is set in Mexico, like another show later on this list. At its best, this is a road trip show that follows Nadia and Ellis as they crash their way further and further south, meeting allies and besting baddies along the way. I will say that this show would have worked better as 16 or 18 episodes instead of 26, but check it out to see if it's your cup of tea. The last rec for Vivy is Land of the Lustrous, which again has gorgeous visuals and a female-looking protagonist in an action-oriented show, even if FOSS is canonically gender-neutral. Land of the Lustrous is set in the far future, where beings made of gemstone are under the tutelage of their wise and mysterious protector, Kongo-sensei. They have to keep watch against the crafty Lunarians, who covet the gemstone that comprises their bodies. The battle sequences are fantastic, and FOSS goes through one of the most skillful and complete character transitions in any one-core anime. The show is very much incomplete by the end of the 12 episodes, but because of how creative it is, it's still one of my favorite anime of all time. Number 4, Super Cub. If you want a detailed look at this one, I did an entire deep dive on Super Cub that you can check out. Several things set Super Cub apart from your standard cute girls doing cute things type of show. These shows usually have an outgoing protagonist who makes friends easily and brightens the group with her cheerfulness. But Koguma clings to her Super Cub like a drowning person clinging to a life preserver. She's an introvert who does not talk easily with others, and often has trouble expressing herself, especially in the early episodes. Watching her subtle transformation into a more confident person who's more comfortable in her own skin is one of the best parts of the show. Super Cub also uses color and sound strategically. Check out the deep dive for more on this, but if you like anime that know how to use a classical music soundtrack, then this is one of the better examples in recent years. So we've got an episodic anime with a socially reserved female protagonist and her super motorcycle. Sounds like Kino's Journey to me. Make sure you watch the original from 2003 and not the 2017 remake. The journey that Kino is on is the kind that has no fixed destination. Instead, she moves from town to town exploring her world. Kino's Journey is a very philosophical show, with each episode posing a question about human nature. The answers are not always neat and tidy. Kino herself is a bit of an enigma. At times it seems like she wants to hide her true self from the world, and at other times it seems like she is the one who is running from herself. But it's a fascinating watch. And it has a talking motorcycle, which makes it awesome. Speaking of girls depending on their vehicles, my next rec is Girls Last Tour. Like Koguma in Super Cub, this show has a main character, Chi, who is normally a calm person of few words who struggles to express her feelings for her more vivacious companion. The two girls wander the ruins of a desolate civilization in their Kettenkrad, which is like a cross between a motorcycle and a tank. They move from place to place in search of food and fuel, hoping to find enough of each to allow them to continue their journey. It's a charming story of friendship surrounded by desolation. One last tour at the tail end of humanity. And if you're just looking for another really good slice of life show, then don't miss A Place Further Than the Universe. In this one, 4 girls from Japan hatch a dream to make it all the way to Antarctica. The show looks at some of the real-world challenges these girls would face in making such a trip, but the true joy of the show is the excellent writing and the fully fleshed-out characters. You get to see the emotional development of these girls that is a journey as far-reaching as the one that they take through physical space. Number 3, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S. This show did not have to be good in order to be important, because it represents a victory for Kyoto Animation and really all of anime after that horrific arson attack in 2019 that killed 36 people. But not only is Miss Kobayashi's second season symbolically important, it's really good. If you love the comedy and charm of the original, this season definitely scratches that itch. We also get a new, somewhat controversial dragon named Ilulu, who had me worried at first, but I liked the direction the show went with her character by setting up a relationship just for her early on, so that it wouldn't feel like she was intruding on the main cast or relying solely on them for her own relevance. If you're okay with Dragon Maid's female character designs, then you're likely to appreciate Monster Musume as well. This one is definitely a racier comedy than Miss Kobayashi. Monster Musume is more of a traditional harem anime, as opposed to Dragon Maid's collection of odd couples. But if you're into monster girl shows or ecchi comedy, then this one is worth a look. If you want a more wholesome comedy, then check out one of Kyoto Animation's earlier works, Nichijou. If you took 3 high school girls, an 8-year-old professor, the robot that she made, and a talking cat, you put them all into a surreal blender, you would get Nichijou, and probably a lot of blood. Be forewarned that this show gets weird, a lot. But the jokes are so rapid fire that even if one doesn't land for you, you never have to wait too long for the next joke to come along. If you're a fan of absurdist humor, then this show needs to be on your watch list. It's got heart, it's got a principal fighting a deer, and it's got Hakase and Nano. So how can you not watch it? The last rec, if you liked Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S, is The Helpful Fox Senko-san. It's another case of an overworked salary worker encountering a fantastical being and having their life enriched in the process. Just like Dragon Maid, Senko-san will introduce you to multiple magical characters with quirky personalities. My favorite character from the series is Shiro, Senko's Spirit Fox Jr. She brings some much-needed mischief to the show and a touch of arrogance that pairs well with Senko's sweet demeanor. I actually preferred the English dub of this show to the Japanese version. If you want a show that you can pop in after a long day at work and have someone vicariously pamper you, then The Helpful Fox Senko-san will be there waiting for you. Number 2, Nomad, Megalobox 2. I liked the first season of Megalobox quite a bit, but I was blown away by the second season. The opening episodes are magnificent in their desolation. If you like dark character studies, then this is your jam. I kept saying to myself, this is Raging Bull. They animated Raging Bull and it's fantastic. Raging Bull, if you're not familiar, is a masterpiece of a boxing film from 1980 by Martin Scorsese. It was shot in black and white, and while Nomad is in color, those early episodes have a very subdued color palette, consisting of a lot of grays, blacks, and darker tones. I think that was a deliberate choice to evoke and pay homage to the gritty atmosphere of Raging Bull. Nomad spends a lot of time on forgiveness. Forgiveness from other people and forgiveness for yourself. And I love that none of this forgiveness is given easily. Many people have pointed to the show's compassionate take on immigrants as one of its strong points, and I would agree. I was a little disappointed with the ending, but in what was the year of the sequel, this was one of the best. The first 2 anime recs for this show come from the same creator, Shinichiro Watanabe's Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. Now, Cowboy Bebop is one of the most well-known and most often recommended anime in existence, so there aren't too many people out there who haven't heard of this group of space bounty hunters who trade quips with each other and trade gunshots with their enemies. But it's a good one to watch or rewatch if you finish Megalobox and find yourself wanting a little more. Both of these anime have several characters who are quietly fighting despair, often caused or enhanced by a lack of money and a social system that is stacked against them. And if you really liked the action scenes in Megalobox, Samurai Champloo has plenty of that with a ton of stylistic flair. If you're down with crossing hip-hop and samurai fight scenes, then this is a must-watch. Mugen, one of the main characters in the show, bears some resemblance to Joe, and they're both similar in their tendency to rush towards the nearest fight. Joe's a more thoughtful character in Season 2, but Mugen's character progresses as well over Samurai Champloo's 26-episode run. The next rec for Nomad is a more recent one, Vinland Saga from 2019. Like Megalobox, this show is filled with action, violence, and characters who struggle to find and express loyalty to each other. Thorfinn is our viewpoint character, but it is Askeladd's journey that is the more interesting one, as he evolves from being a bandit ruffian to becoming a true leader. Plus, anytime you have a guy lose his fingers and just smile about it, then you have to watch that show. Number 1. Odd Taxi. It takes a few episodes with Odd Taxi to realize that you're watching something special. But once you recognize the scope of what the writers are trying to accomplish, just how many plot threads they are trying to combine into a coherent whole, then your appreciation for the series really grows. It's hard to briefly describe the plot of Odd Taxi because every character you meet is going to play some part in the story's overall progression. I'll just say that Otokawa drives a taxi in a town full of talking animals, and the lives of just about everyone in the town are going to intersect with his as he tries to navigate his way through a film noir-inspired, idol-infested labyrinth of crime, deception, and collectible erasers. There is a sequel film in development for Odd Taxi, but I'm worried that it's going to ruin the excellent and ambiguous ending. But these are talented writers, so hopefully they can take what looks like a hasty cash grab and turn it into something that adds real value to an unexpected hit. The problem in coming up with recs for a show like Odd Taxi is that there's really nothing else like it. So I'm going to recommend 3 shows that share one of Odd Taxi's main strengths, and that's its excellent writing. First up is Steins Gate. Steins Gate is one of the best time travel stories ever made. The show has sharp dialogue and a likable cast of characters who unravel one conspiracy after another, all the while inventing time travel in their microwave. The first 9 to 10 episodes are good, but it's the last half that has made this show a classic. Hold on to your hats if you sign up for this ride, because the plot twists are going to come at you a mile a minute. The next rec has a few plot twists of its own, but it saves most of them for late in the show, and it's not as fast-paced as Steins Gate. House of Five Leaves is set in feudal Japan and follows Masanosuke, a Ronin, or masterless samurai. Because he's not employed, he finds it hard to make money, so he falls in with a band of kidnappers and thieves to survive. The band's charismatic leader, Yaichi, fascinates Masanosuke, partly because he sees in the other man the qualities that he himself lacks. There are a few sword fights, but most of the action takes place in the dialogue, so expect a slow burn with this one. If you enjoy psychological character studies, then this is one to watch. There are actually quite a few anime shows about the anime business, but in my opinion, Shirobako is the best one. While the look into the inner workings of the anime industry is fascinating, it's the show's ability to weave together a large cast of distinct characters that sets it apart. By the end, you'll feel like you know the people at Mushoshino Animation as you share in their failures and their triumphs. Unfortunately, those last 2 recs are not available for streaming as of the time of this recording, but both Shirobako and House of Five Leaves have been available on multiple streaming services recently, so it wouldn't surprise me to see someone license them soon. You can find links to all the other shows mentioned down in the description, so hopefully you found a few new entries for your backlog. Now, there were a lot of shows from 2021 that I haven't gotten to yet, including some that sound really promising, so put your top 5 down in the comments. Happy New Year, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.